Do you ever have that moment where everything suddenly makes sense? Where the fog lifts and you realize that the reason you've been struggling with money isn't about how much you earn, it's about how you make decisions every single day. That moment is what we're going to explore today. Imagine standing in your own space, looking at your life, and finally noticing the patterns that have quietly drained your wallet week after week, month after month. That clarity, that realization is powerful. Let's be honest. Most advice about saving money online is overwhelming. Skip your morning. Coffee. Don't buy lunch for a month. Avoid entertainment completely. Sure, you might follow it for a week, maybe even 2. But eventually, it feels unsustainable. You end up frustrated, overwhelmed, maybe even guilty. And that's the problem, because it's not that you're bad with money, not at all. It's that the system around you, the way decisions are presented, the environment you live in, the habits you've picked up is designed to make small, invisible leaks happen every day. Think about your grocery trips, your coffee runs, your quick snack stops, even the prepackaged meals you pick up when you're too busy to cook. Each of these little decisions feels insignificant on its own. A few dollars here, a few dollars there. Nothing you notice immediately, but week after week, these small choices add up. They quietly erode your ability to save, slowly filling your calendar with expenses you didn't consciously plan. And here's the kicker, it's not because you're careless. It's because your brain is wired to make decisions based on convenience, emotion, and habit. Convenience costs money. Emotion costs money. Habit costs money. If you're not aware of it, the money flows out without a second thought. And that's exactly why most people feel like saving is impossible, even when their income is enough to cover expenses comfortably. But it doesn't have to be this way. Saving isn't about being extreme. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about creating systems, tiny, repeatable, intentional habits that quietly work for you instead of against you. That's what we're gonna focus on. Real habits, small wins, and actionable changes that build momentum over time. Let's take a simple concept first. The idea of a cheap day, not a day where you deny yourself everything, but a day where your choices are intentionally designed to save money, without feeling like sacrifice. On that day, every decision you make, every ingredient you buy, every snack you eat, every little purchase is intentional. It's a day that gives you breathing room. One day like this, a week can already change your financial trajectory. Most people underestimate the impact of a single well-planned day. But here's the math. If a single day each week saves even a small amount, say $10 to $15, that's $40 to $60 a month, $480 to $720 a year. And that's without changing anything else in your life. That's power. That's compounding in its simplest, most practical form. And it's not just about money, it's about freedom. Freedom from stress. Freedom from the constant worry about where your next paycheck will go. Freedom to actually choose what you spend money on, rather than letting every small decision be dictated by habit, impulse, or the convenience trap set up around you. That's the bigger picture. So today we're gonna walk through this process step by step. We'll explore how small, intentional actions, starting with something as simple as understanding your daily choices and planning a few strategic cheap days, can completely shift your financial life. No extreme sacrifices, no overcomplicated budgets, just clarity, consistency, and systems that work. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why you've struggled to save money, but you'll also have the tools and mindset to start changing your habits immediately. You'll see that saving isn't about willpower, it's about structure. And once structure is in place, the stress fades, the money stays in your pocket, and the sense of control becomes tangible. Now, here's the important part. This isn't theory. These are actionable steps you can take starting today. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's consistency, and it all starts with awareness, seeing the patterns in your life, understanding the invisible leaks, and deciding to take control. That's the first step, and it's already powerful. So let's take a deep breath, step into clarity, and begin building the systems that make saving money natural, automatic, and stress-free. From here on out, every choice you see, every habit you adopt, every small win will add up, quietly transforming your financial reality without feeling like a burden. Now that you understand why saving money feels impossible, it's time to flip the script. Because knowing the problem isn't enough, you need a system. You need a structure that quietly works for you day in and day out, without requiring extreme willpower or constant decision making. And the best part? You don't have to overhaul your life or give up the things you love. You just need a smarter way to make your everyday choices. Let's start with a simple principle: small. Consistent actions compound faster than occasional big efforts. It's the classic idea that a tiny drop of water fills a bucket over time. That's what we're going to do with your habits. Starting with groceries and daily spending. Small adjustments, repeated, add up to massive results. Imagine your week as a collection of small decisions. Every morning, every trip to the kitchen, every coffee run, every snack. On its own, none of it feels significant. But together, they're the biggest drivers of your financial reality. And here's the good news: once you see the pattern, you can control it. You can design the system so that the default choice favors saving, not overspending. Let's begin with what I like to call the frame method. This is simple. When you go grocery shopping, don't just write a list. That's a good start, but it's not enough. Lists fail because they don't account for context, what your brain does when it's tempted, hungry, or distracted. Instead, you shop with a frame. A frame is basically a set of clear boundaries for your trip. How many meals are you planning for this week? How many snacks will you allow yourself? How long do these ingredients need to last? When you create a frame, your brain has a map. You're not wandering through the store blindly, tempted by every shiny package and flashy deal. You're making decisions with clarity, not impulse. And clarity is where real savings start. Now, let's talk about something almost everyone underestimates: shopping while hungry. Sounds trivial, right? But hunger isn't just a physical feeling, it's a cognitive trap. When you're hungry, your brain starts looking for quick energy, high dopamine hits, and emotional comfort. That's why chips, candy, and prepackaged meals suddenly look amazing even when you didn't plan to buy them. Eating a small, healthy snack before your grocery trip doesn't just curb hunger, it changes the way your brain evaluates every single choice in the store. Suddenly, those impulse purchases lose their power, and your frame becomes effective. The next principle is the price per use mindset. This is where most people trip up. They see a cheap item and think they're saving money, but cheap doesn't always mean valuable. Consider a $2 snack you eat in 2 minutes versus a $10 ingredient that lasts for 5 meals. The snack feels cheap, but in terms of utility, it's far more expensive. Before you buy anything, ask yourself, how many times will I actually use this? If the answer is once, it's probably not worth it. This shift in thinking is subtle, but over time, it eliminates dozens of unnecessary purchases every month. Let's combine these ideas with another reality. Daily spending is the silent killer. Grocery shopping is just one part of the picture. Coffee here, lunch there, random snacks every day. They seem small, but they're relentless. Even $3 a day on coffee adds up to nearly $100 a month, more than $1,000 a year. And it's not just about the money, it's about the habit. Daily small purchases shape your identity. They train your brain to spend without thought. By recognizing them, by making some small intentional choices, you can redirect that energy towards saving without feeling deprived. And this is where cheap days come in again, but taken to the next level. You don't need extreme rules, but a default day where all your choices favor saving creates momentum. On a cheap day, you eat simply, avoid unnecessary purchases, and treat your system as a mini experiment. 1 day per week, maybe 2, is all it takes to start seeing the compounding effect. Over a month, you're talking hundreds of dollars saved without stress. Over a year, thousands. And it doesn't feel like punishment, it feels like control. Consistency is the real secret here. Extreme budgets fail because life isn't extreme. Sustainable systems win because they are boring, predictable, and repeatable. That's why every habit we're building, frames, smart eating before shopping, price per use decisions, and cheap days, works quietly in the background. They don't require heroic effort. They require attention, repetition, and patience. And patience, when combined with good systems, is far more powerful than willpower alone. By now you might be thinking, okay, I understand the idea, but what about snacks, coffee, convenience meals? Don't I need some flexibility? The answer is yes. You don't need to eliminate everything. The goal is to design default choices that favor saving, while still allowing planned treats. Flexibility doesn't break the system, unpredictability does. That's why we focus on structure first. Once structure's in place, choices that feel indulgent don't sabotage your savings, they're just part of a balanced, intentional lifestyle. Another subtle but crucial point is awareness. Track your habits, not obsessively, not rigidly, but simply. Note which days you overspend, which categories bleed money, and which decisions actually contribute to progress. Awareness is the fuel for consistency. Without it, you're operating in the dark, making random choices that feel necessary in the moment but costly in the long run. Awareness transforms invisible leaks into visible opportunities. All these ideas together, shopping frames, hunger management, price per use thinking, cheap days, consistency, and awareness create a self-reinforcing system. Once you see it in motion, the results feel almost automatic. The stress that used to come with spending fades. The money that used to disappear suddenly stays in your pocket. And every small win compounds into a visible, meaningful shift in your financial reality. And here's the key takeaway for part 2. Small, deliberate, consistent choices beat extreme sacrifices every single time. Systems beat willpower. Awareness beats ignorance. And over time, the habits you form now will define how freely you live and how well you save for the future. In the next part, we'll explore how these principles translate into long-term success, creating a life where saving doesn't feel like work and spending doesn't feel like stress. You'll see how to take the rules we've discussed and turn them into a sustainable, automatic system that protects your money while still allowing you to enjoy life. By now, you've seen how small, intentional changes, frames for grocery shopping, snacks before you shop, price per use thinking, and cheap days can shift the way you spend money. But the real magic happens when you carry these habits forward. This is where most people fail. They make small changes for a week, maybe a month, then life happens. Old patterns sneak back in, and the cycle starts again. The difference between temporary success and long-term financial freedom is consistency over time. Imagine a year from now if you applied these habits consistently. 1 or 2 cheap days per week, mindful grocery decisions, avoiding unnecessary daily spending over 12 months. The money you save quietly accumulates. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic, but it's real. Hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands in impact. That's compounding in its simplest form. Small, steady choices adding up into something significant almost effortlessly. Because the system works for you, not against you. Let's talk about the automatic system in more detail. You don't need a giant spreadsheet. You don't need a complicated app tracking every penny. Instead, you build habits that naturally enforce good behavior. Cheap days become normal. Your frame guides grocery shopping without thinking. Price per use becomes instinctive. And over time, your brain stops treating money as a constant source of stress and starts treating it as a tool. A tool for freedom, choice, and control. And what about freedom? Because here's the real payoff. When you have systems in place, money stops controlling you. That open road we imagined earlier, the feeling of endless possibilities, is exactly what financial systems create. When daily spending is intentional, when grocery decisions are smart, when small wins accumulate, the mental energy that used to be tied up in money anxiety is freed. You can focus on work, on family, on hobbies, on life. That's the ultimate goal. Financial habits are not about deprivation, they're about liberation. At this stage, it's important to embrace a key mindset. Boring wins over exciting but fleeting efforts. Most people chase dramatic changes, a massive budget overhaul, a new side hustle, an extreme savings challenge, but these rarely stick. What works is steady, boring, reliable progress. It's consistency, not heroics, that builds wealth and security. Every small win compounds. Every small habit reinforces the next. And soon, you'll look back and wonder how you ever lived without these habits. Another subtle but crucial benefit is peace of mind. Imagine checking your bank balance and feeling calm, not panic. Imagine shopping for groceries without guilt or stress. Imagine enjoying a coffee or a treat without the weight of I shouldn't be spending this. That's the long-term impact of what we've discussed. Systems reduce stress, habits protect money, and intentional choices create freedom. And this is why tracking, even lightly, helps. You don't need obsession, you just need awareness. A quick glance at your weekly spending, a mental check of your cheap days. Noticing where small leaks happen, this keeps the system alive. Awareness fuels consistency. It turns invisible habits into visible progress. And progress is what creates momentum. Momentum is what turns a small, simple habit into a life-changing shift. Let's visualize the future, your fridge and pantry organized, every ingredient intentional, your daily spending controlled with default choices that favor saving, your money growing quietly in small increments, unremarkable yet unstoppable. You have the flexibility to enjoy treats, meals, and coffee, but without stress or guilt. That's the life that comes from smart systems applied consistently. And here's a secret most people overlook. Flexibility doesn't break the system. It strengthens it. Once structure's in place, occasional indulgences aren't a problem. They're just part of a balanced, intentional lifestyle. You can enjoy life and still save because your habits enforce your financial boundaries automatically. That's the real power of long-term planning. Your systems work for you even when you're not thinking about them. So here's the final takeaway. Saving money isn't about willpower. It's about structure. It's about creating habits that guide your choices without constant struggle. Cheap days, intentional shopping frames, mindful daily spending, price per use thinking. These aren't tricks. They are systems. And systems done consistently produce results that are predictable, sustainable, and stress-free. Today, you've seen how a few small, deliberate choices implemented consistently can quietly transform your financial life. Tomorrow, it starts to snowball. Every small win reinforces the next. And over time, these habits build a life where money works for you, not against you. You don't need extreme budgets, complicated software, or heroic discipline. You just need clarity, intentionality, and the willingness to let simple systems do the heavy lifting. So take a deep breath, reflect on what you've learned, and start small. One cheap day this week, one shopping trip with a frame, one mindful snack choice. That's all it takes to start building momentum. Because over time, momentum becomes transformation, and transformation becomes freedom. And remember, the goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. Small, consistent, intentional progress. That's how real financial control is built. That's how stress disappears. That's how freedom appears. And once you start, you'll wonder why anyone ever thought saving money had to be hard. Thank you for watching. Start today, trust the system, and let your habits work quietly while you live fully, stress-free and free to choose your path.